Hello friends and welcome back to my shop. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about shop storage, shop organization, efficiencies, basically everything I do to make my little itty bitty workshop run efficiently. So pretty much everything I build is small and usually has more than one part. So I like to keep everything organized, especially with different levels of production or different levels of finishing. I want to keep like parts together. So there's a few systems I use for that. One system are these bins that I printed. I printed these probably 6 months ago or something now. Printed about 20 of these little PETG bins, and these are sized to go in those little organizers you see for screws and hardware. But these fit one of my complete. So these fit a complete pen, and I've lined the bottom with some extra shipping foam I have. I'm bumping everything here. And that lets me basically put the finished pen in there, and it's not going to get scratched. It's just kind of a safe place to put them, and it keeps all the parts together. That way, if they're anodized, matched, or whatnot, they're in one location. And it just makes my life easy in that sense. For all the other parts, the springs and caps and whatnot, this is my new system I'm going to use. The storage that I've used up till now has been these kind of boxes. I like these. These have worked fine. They hold my refills and set screws and springs and whatnot. And I'd love to have a giant stack of these. They're not exactly cheap to buy. And they don't fit my pens in the way I want it. Like this doesn't fit my pen this way, and it doesn't fit my pen this way. And I could 3D print larger ones of these, but then I'd only have like 6 or 8 locations. It works, it's just not perfect. So I was looking for a better solution, and I stumbled across a YouTuber who makes really cool stuff. And one of the things he made was this. So his channel is Alexander Chappell. I'll link it below. Bunch of cool stuff, but this is basically a wood box with 3D printed hardware and handles and latches and whatnot. And it has a customizable grid layout in the bottom. So you can basically arrange it in whatever way you want. You can print these little itty bitty boxes, or you can print medium ones or big ones or even bigger ones. And that's basically a way that I can keep everything organized in these nice boxes, which the super cool thing about these is even if you have, let's say, that in there and that not. And let's put something in there. Let's put a pocket clip in one. Sure. Then you latch them all up. Everything stays put because he's got a grid system. So even if you only had one container in there, it doesn't shift around, which is I thought a pretty cool idea. A boatload of printing, way more than I planned. I'd started it over Christmas and basically had these finished forever and just recorded the video on these like a few weeks ago and wasn't happy with it. So I'm redoing it all, but I like this system. This is going to be my new system going forward, and I printed a bushel of these. Truth be told, 3D printing and cutting the wood and painting and assembling all these cost me a lot more money than just the $30 or $40 it cost for each of those containers. I should have just bought like 6 of those and been done with it. But this is way cooler and it looks neat. And it's super customizable, so that's the way I'm going to convince myself that it was a good idea. So whether or not those things were a good investment of time or energy to build, they look super cool. I'm super happy with them. 6x7 grid over 8 containers gives me this many potential storage locations, which is awesome. I'll eventually build a rolling cart for them, or I'll maybe make a rack where I can kind of stack them all in along the wall, so I can pull one container out without having to deal with the giant stack I got going here. I'll devote one to the lathe, one to the mill, and then the other ones will be devoted to parts as I eventually fill them up. That handles that part of my storage. The next thing that I use daily, and that saves me a bunch of time running around getting stuff, is this thing right here. Ta-da! This is my tool cart, and this is hard to film in a little location. It's just a big rolly cart. I had built this for my day job to hold tools and everything I was accessing at the time. Since then, I brought it home and I took out all the foam and put new foam into it, and have slowly been cutting in things that I most commonly use. For instance, my Sharpie should go there. So basically this just handles, it's mainly built right now for my mill. These trays, which are sitting in it, can come out and be exchanged with ones that are sitting in these holders. I haven't changed it because this one's still not full and I use this majority of the time. But it just basically has a place for everything to go, so that when I take out my little, whatever, brass punch for my vise to seat parts in my vise, and I put it back there, I'm not ever looking for it, because I look for that stupid thing so often if I set it down anywhere else. So just having a home for everything just makes everything just a little bit more efficient. If you save 5 seconds off finding, a wrench 20 times a day, that's a decent amount of time savings. So this has a spot for everything. It has a spot for drills and safety glasses and whatnot. And all the little parts on here that are kind of, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. They're all just pinned in place. So these have little wood dowels on the bottom. Mating holes here. And I can pop them in. Same goes for all this. The cool part is, like I said, the interchangeability of it. Being able to just swap these out. I might even change these and end up making these more like storage racks. Because currently, the bottom one, I gotta change camera angles. The bottom one has proven to be the most useful because this is where I start keeping all my this is where I keep all my jigs for the mill, for different setups. So I have soft jaws in here and I have 4th axis support blocks, and slowly I'll just keep filling it up. Once again, this isn't something I need to access all the time, so it can live in the bottom here. But then it gives it a nice, safe place to reside, and I don't drop my soft jaws on the concrete and ruin them so they don't hold the parts anymore. So that's a good use for this, I think. I don't know. It seems to be so far, so I'm going with that. This has no use anymore, but I'll show you it because it's kind of cool. When I first built that rolling tool cart, I kept all my tools in it at my day job, and I had basically all my tools there, or tools that I'd want to use on the weekend again to do this whole thing. So I'd want to bring them home. What I devised for that was this thing. So this is just a big box with pretty brass latches and whatnot that once open, and the parts aren't in my way, would basically take all those little carrier foams that you saw, and it could nest 2 on each side. Then these plates would go over each side. I'll show you. Why am I telling you when I could show you? I could show you so much easier.
So this was the container. It was just made out of Baltic birch, and then I stained it kind of a dark walnut color, put some brass hardware on it to make it look pretty. The little carrier foams that go in there, normally these would be full of tools, so I had to be careful to keep the tools below the level of the foam so everything would stack nicely. And then these little covers went in place, and the 4 little brass thumb turns would just secure everything in place, just so I didn't have stuff jumping around, and everything was held securely when it was moving to and fro from work in my vehicle. A really nice box. I don't have a use for it now, but it is pretty, so I'll keep it.
The other thing I find crazy helpful is, whenever possible, put everything on wheels. My rolling tool cart is on wheels. I love it. My little table is on 2 wheels. I love that as well. Heavy stuff, definitely. I don't want my mill on wheels or anything, but I want my garbage can on wheels. Just if you can move stuff without actually having to lift it, is so much easier, especially in a small, confined space. It's nice to be able to just push stuff around and have it out of my way. I don't know. I'll put wheels on everything if I can.
So my shop is punctuated with all kinds of 3D printed things. These TTS holders are great for my collets. My porta bandsaw hangs on the wall. It's a recent addition, but that thing has been awesome just for roughing down stock. Super quick, super efficient, super convenient. My mill and my lathe both have leather way covers. When I use abrasives on them, I want to protect the precision ways, so just having permanent leather covers on them makes it something I don't have to think about anymore, and it's awesome. It's been working great, and I'm a big fan of them. My 3D printer runs on a Raspberry Pi controller running Octoprint, so I just made a nicer 3D printed and acrylic cut case for it. It looks pretty and makes the printer like a network printer, which makes it easy. Video actually takes up a decent amount of time, so I try to make that process simple. So on my computer, I always have my audio interface and my mic ready to go for any kind of voiceover work. And then directly behind my computer, I have all my lenses and all my video gear and fill lights and headphones and whatnot. Anything I'll need for video, just easy, charged, cleaned, at the ready. The faster I can grab equipment and shoot video, the more likely I am to shoot more B-roll. And the easier it is to edit a video at the end of the week when I have lots of content. If I don't, it's more difficult and it takes me more time to piece together a video. So I try to make that process simple for myself. All the moving shots in my videos are basically controlled by this 3-axis, 4-axis, whatever you want to call it, cinema rig. I recently got this and I'm starting to finally get the hang of it. It's really interesting. It's fun to use. It's a little bit difficult to keyframe shots, so I've kind of made myself cheat sheets on how fast things move, but I'm getting a lot better with it, and it's a ton of fun to use. It's also a really good time vampire. Right beside my desk, I have my little rotary tool and my kind of little cleaning finishing station. This has proved to be absolutely invaluable. The little Proxxon rotary tool there is amazing. I used to use a Dremel and a flex shaft, but it can't compare to this. And I know there's better options, but this is a fairly economical option. And it's quiet. It's quiet and it's well balanced and has steel collets. It's a dream compared to a Dremel. I mean, if you need a Dremel for the power, sure, the little Proxxons aren't crazy torquey, but they're so quiet and so balanced. It's a joy to use, especially for my deburring purposes. I love this tool. Another tool that saves me a bunch of time is my laser cutter. I've done a video on this, so I won't talk about it too much, but basically all it does is cut up my shipping foam. That's pretty much all I use it for. It's a K40 laser cutter that I kind of Frankenstein to fit 2 sheets of my shipping foam into the stock case, drop it in there, make it go, and it cuts the parts out nice and quickly, something I don't have to worry about anymore. They're nice and repeatable, and that's pretty much all it does. It's the only reason I really bought it, and it's working perfectly for that purpose. This is an area of my shop I don't really shoot a lot of video of. It's a back room in my basement. It's where I do all my shipping and cleaning and some of the anodizing work. Just nice to have a nice big table to do work on. I also do a lot of the product photography for my website on here, just because it's more room to work. Nothing special, just a big flat table. I have a couple lights that I'll put little covers over to kind of give it a softer effect. Like paper towels, nothing too fancy, but it produces a nice soft light and lets me take some pretty decent shots for what the setup looks like. So that's what I do. That's the efficiencies of my shop. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, take care. Bye.